Okay, so today we're going to be looking at another of Liz Lochhead's poems, which is Box Room. And essentially, the poem follows the speaker who basically comes to visit her boyfriend's house. And in the process, she basically meets his mum and she discovers more about her boyfriend's past. And she basically begins to think that maybe he doesn't really care about her as much as she cares about him yet. So it's basically a poem um about a relationship. It's a poem about you could say one-sided love or a poem about romance. In a way it's quite reflective of you could say like modern dating. A lot of these kind of situations happen a lot of the time in modern dating. You have one person who likes the other person a little bit more. So we're going to explore that today. We're going to explore this poem through the mainly through the theme of you could say realization of let me say realization of one-sided love, or maybe realization of how the other person values her, something like that. Yeah, it's realization of personal value or where she stands in the relationship, something like that. Yeah, we're gonna explore along those kind of lines. Okay, so so to begin with, first, so we have the poem on the left, okay, and then we have some illustration on the right. I just thought this is a bit more interesting than me just reading the text, so I just decided to do it this way. I think maybe it'll be more interesting. We'll do the other videos this way, see how it goes. If you like it, uh, let me know. Yeah, put it in the comments or just drop a like. Okay, anyway, first the welcoming smiles all around, a space for handshakes. Then she put me in my place. Okay, so this is the speaker, and basically the mother of the boyfriend, she greets the speaker at the door and she puts on essentially like a fake kind of smile, a fake kind of welcome, and the speaker can tell that it's like fake. Okay, all with concern for my comfort, so she's being sort of sarcastic here. And so she can tell that the mother doesn't like her right from the beginning, even though she's putting on this air of being welcoming and so on. It's here for him. The room was always his. This room was always his when he comes home. So the boyfriend isn't there at this point. It's here for him unless, of course, he brings a friend. So right from the beginning, the mother is initiating this idea or this theme that the boyfriend basically has had other girls in his life and has had other girls at his house. Yeah, bringing your girl to your mom's house. I don't know about that. Just from a practical standpoint. But anyway, anyway. So the guy's basically had he's basically had girlfriends in the past, and the idea is the theme that's being initiated here is that the speaker will begin to realize that slowly she is just like one of many. Yeah, basically that's the point. That the boyfriend doesn't really see her as very special, at least from her perspective. She's like one of many, and it begins to change how she sees the relationship. That's the idea. Okay, so the mother is kind of teasing her here, yeah. Unless, of course, she said he brings a friend. Okay, she smiled. I hope the bed is soft enough. So you can see, okay, what she's sort of trying to hint at. She's hinting at obviously that the boyfriend's had other girls in the past. You're not the first girl, and she's basically trying to make the speaker feel bad. She's trying to make the speaker kind of doubt the relationship, and she's trying to make her think that the boyfriend doesn't really like her yet. He doesn't really care about her that much. She's just another girl yet. He's basically using her, and then when he's had fun, he's finished. He's basically gonna let her go, just like the other girls. That's the idea that the mother's trying to basically put across. Okay, he'll make do tonight in the lounge or on the put you up. Okay, so she's the boyfriend's not gonna share the same room with her. He's gonna sleep in the other room. All right, for a night or two, once or twice before he slept there. It'll be fine, I'm sure. Next door, if you want to wash your face. So you can see the mother is essentially taking on this position of being in charge, of being uh, superior to the speaker. And I guess this kind of happens in, in many relationships. This is actually how it goes with the mother-in-law or the mother of uh, the man, the husband, whatever. A lot of times they do clash with the wife or the girlfriend. And in another poem by Liz Lochhead, um, she calls it something like my rival's house, and it's sort of the same idea. Maybe the clash is something to do with the mom thinking that the speaker is gonna take her son away, something like that. Yeah, there's that kind of psychology. It plays a part. Okay, so anyway, she tells her if you want to wash your face, okay, go in the other room. If you notice, she doesn't say you can, or she doesn't say anything, any softening kind of words. It's just kind of commands you. Okay, she must think she can brush off time with dust. From model airplanes, I laugh it off in self-defense. Who have come for a weekend to state my permanence. Piece to unpack, but I found none. So essentially, what she's talking about is that the speaker uh is in the boy's room, in the son's room, or boyfriend's room, and essentially all around the room is like all of his old stuff. Okay, it's all of his old stuff, and um yes, it's all of his old things. And what she begins to think about, okay, the spirit room, which once contained you, dun-colored walls, one small window which you used to frame your old horizons. So this is where he used to sleep, look out the window. What can I blame for my unrest? Insomnia. So now she can't sleep. Persistent fear elbows me, embedded deeply here in an outgrown bed, narrow but not narrower than the single bed we sometimes share, because they're in a relationship. On every side you grin, gilt edge from long discarded shelves or selves. But where do I fit in the picture? So basically, what she's beginning to think about now is the words of the mother. So they've had their effect. The manipulation has had its effect, and that she's now beginning to ask herself, like, okay, where does she fit into the picture? And does the son, does the boyfriend really care about her? That's what she's thinking. Okay, does he really care about her? She's thinking about the girls that have been in the same position as she's in. She's thinking about, um, does he actually care about her? Does he think about her in the same way that she thinks about him? And this makes her quite depressed. Okay, makes her depressed, and she begins to think and look around his room, and she says, "Your bookshelves are crowded with previous prizes." So double meaning here, obviously, prizes mean trophies and things, but the other meaning of prizes means like the other girls, the evidence of the other girls that he's been with in the past. A selection of plots grows thin. Your egg collection shatters me. Again, remember with the Lochhead poems, any mention of eggs or milk and that kind of thing, they usually are reference to the feminine, to women. Um, and so what she's looking at is uh he probably has some collection of like birds' eggs or something. Maybe I don't know if they're toy eggs or whatever, or they're eggs which have been like preserved in some kind of way, the shells. Labeled carefully, sucked dry years ago. Obviously, it's the imagery that she's suggesting here is that these are representative of the girls that he was with in the past, in that he took everything from them, in that um he was intimate with them physically, and uh which is in a way you could say traditionally speaking, uh one of the ways of framing the male-female relationship, one of the ways of framing romance even, was as a sort of conquest. Okay. This is obviously controversial today, I would say to some extent, but in the past, even today actually, the male female relationship, the romance, was framed as a sort of like conquest or like um challenge type thing, an adventure, which the idea was that the man would have to basically find the woman and then seduce her in some kind of way, woo her in some kind of way. In the past, this was like the knight. This would be the knight who was able to like what do you call it? Save the woman from the dragon or something, perform some kind of feat which would make her very impressed with him and would make them both get married, and then that would be like mission accomplished yet. Conquest has been, in a sense, the woman has been conquered. Okay, is uh weird as that sounds, yeah, but that would be the idea. That would be the idea, okay? Um, in modern times, this still exists. Okay, it still exists in modern times with the idea of when people talk about game or they talk about playing the game, and the idea of the game is that the idea of the game is for a man to try and uh, get a woman um to give to like first initially to give her his contact details, whatever, like her phone number or whatever, whatever. And then eventually the game would end when the man is able to sleep with her. That's like the game, yeah. That's the game. The woman would be there at that point, mission accomplished. That's the idea. So when she's saying this thing about prizes, it's like in that line of thinking. Okay, in that line of thinking of basically she now is beginning to see her boyfriend as a person who essentially just like goes around and sleeps with a bunch of different girls and collects them like some kind of prizes, yeah, that like okay, his mission has been accomplished, he got what he wanted, and then he can like sort of like toss her aside, yeah, years ago that you have no interest in. So she's beginning to think and realize, okay, that her boyfriend might be not that interested in her. Now, obviously, the poem is written just from her perspective, okay, from the speaker's perspective. So we don't know what the reality of the situation is, and also the mother has been the one that sort of pushed this narrative. We haven't heard from the man at all yet, so maybe he's innocent. Let me play defense for the bro. Let me play defense for the bro. Yeah, maybe he's innocent and he didn't do anything. And that girl he was talking to was not his. The girl he was talking to is not his ex. Okay, she's like the Amazon delivery driver. Yeah, he was waiting for a package. So I played defense for the brother. Nah, but look, in reality, it brings up on something quite important. Okay, let me just see. Is there any more to this poem? Ah, good. So this will be something good, I think. Okay, you just took one from each. So she's again expressing what I've just said. Okay, you took one from each, meaning from each place, each nest. Okay, you never wrecked a nest, meaning he finds like say, for example, some place that has girls on it. He finds one and takes her. A vetted guess among abandoned objects. My position is precarious. So basically, she's saying, now I'm in the position that those girls have been in, and all those girls have been abandoned in the past. And now I'm here, and now precarious means on the edge of something, like on a cliff's edge. I feel she feels like he's gonna do the same to her, yeah. Like he's gonna discard her at some point. Let her go, yeah. My position is precarious, closeted, so it's dark. Your past, a premonition. Premonition is something that happens in the future. So she's saying basically, you did all this in the past, you acted this way in the past, so I'm thinking you're gonna act this way in the future. I can't close my eyes to it. I mean, she can't stop thinking about it. I shiver despite the electric blanket and the mildness of the night. So she's now in bed alone and she's now overthinking essentially. There's different ways to interpret the poem. One is that she's just completely overthinking and um and the mother has put these ideas on her head and now she's like completely overthinking and she's having like an anxiety attack for no reason yet. That he actually cares about her and all that, but there's that. Okay, so the other interpretation is that he is actually just basically playing her and eventually he'll get rid of her like he got rid of the other girls and she's sort of realizing it. She's sort of realizing it, which would make you, it would make you ask the question of the mother, is she good or is she bad? Um, is she warning the speaker or is it more so that she's just taking enjoyment in the speaker's realization that the boy doesn't actually care about her that much? It's an interesting question. What I'd say, so that's the poem, yeah, pretty much. That's the poem. So she kind of realizes this and then it just ends, yeah. So she's in a position at the end where she's thinking that he maybe doesn't care about her that much. And then we don't really get to know more yet. That's how the poem ends. But more interesting than this, I would say, for you guys, I would say that excuse me, if I could give you any advice, if I could give you any advice, I'd say this is probably for my younger students, my younger female students. Because once you get older, women are naturally more adept in relationships, in general. Anyway, um, I'd say if I had to judge between male female manipulation in terms of relationships, I'd say it's mostly female women that are more expert at manipulating or more expert at sort of being in control of the relationship psychologically as opposed to men. And the reason is it's just a simple numbers game is that women, especially even young women, like many of my young students, many of you already will have been approached by men, um, even men that are older than you, and so you will already be in a sort of practice of understanding. Okay, you know, creepy guys act like this. Okay, not so creepy guys act like this. Other type of guys talk like this and that, like that. If I say this, they do this. So in a way, like girls kind of get practice um in relationships and in dating much more than guys do because the average guy, if you're 17 or something, 16, 17, um, no girl really is coming up to you and talking to you in that romantically. Not for most guys, yeah. So, yeah, and it carries on that way. Say, even as guys get older, a lot of men struggle. A lot of men struggle with relationships. They struggle with how to talk to girls and stuff. Um, okay, that notwithstanding, that not being said, I want to give some advice to my female students, especially the young ones yet, because you guys are not really you're not really tuned in yet into, you know, um, sort of the manipulation or the games of a player yet. You're not really tuned in, and so that's what. And the reason that I want to give you this advice is because what can happen is you can get played, and this happens a lot. Yeah, you can get played by some guy that you think cares about you, and a guy that you think loves you, and all that. You get played, and then what happens is you realize you got played. Like she's realizing if she did get played, you realize you got played, and then you sort of your heart breaks in a way, and then um, you become kind of sad, yeah, and it's a sad in a deep kind of way, which makes you lose kind of trust in things, and it makes you kind of bitter in a way, and then if it keeps happening, too many times, you end up basically in a point where you sort of hate men in general, and you're kind of in a bad place yet because like you want love and you want someone to love you and care about you, but now you're terrified that someone's gonna play you again yet, which is not a great place to be in yet. So if I can give you some advice which would stop you from getting there, then okay, let me give you it. So um what I'd say to you what I'd say is um first I'd say to you just take your time, yeah, that's number one. I guess this is for both, yeah, this is for both male and female students. Although I think when you're younger, I would say probably female, I'd say probably girls are probably more vulnerable to this just because they have no idea and they can fall in love real fast. And I don't think there's any like older women flirt with, trying to flirt with you guys. No offense, yeah. Maybe some of you, but in general, yeah, no 22, 23, 24, 5-year-old is trying to flirt with you if you're like an 18-year-old. Why, yeah. In general, yeah. Unless you're like, handsome McChad yet, maybe, but in general, it's not happening yet. So you guys have got time, yeah. You guys have got time to learn. Anyway, so here's your basic player defense, yeah. Here's your player defense. Here's your don't ask me how I know this stuff yet. I've been around the block here. Anyway, here's your player defense. Okay. Your player defense is like this, right? First, you want to take your time, yeah. That's number one. Take your time and don't fall in love so fast, yeah. Don't fall in love just because someone says nice things to you. Don't fall in love yet. The basic game of the player, the ones who do it in the wrong way, in the dark way, the dark player, I guess, the manipulative player. Here's what the game is. The game is that they will tell you uh things you want to hear in order for you to believe in some magical future with them. That's what the game of the player, the dark player is, yeah, the manipulative one. So how do you avoid, here's your defense against the dark arts. How do you avoid okay, how do you avoid ending up like this? How do you avoid ending up like this? Okay, here's how you avoid it. If the actions don't match the words, then beware. Yeah. And beware. Beware, yeah. You're dealing with the player, yeah. Beware. Beware, yeah. So if the actions match the words, then okay, he's legit. He's probably pretty legit, yeah. For example, he tells you He tells you on your birthday, we're gonna go on holiday to Spain, and we're gonna spend some days together, just you and me. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be magical. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, your birthday comes, the plane is booked. Boom, now you're on holiday to Spain and it's great. Okay, good. Your birthday comes, no holiday to Spain. He says, ah, sorry, I can't. This thing came up or some excuse. That's a red flag. Yeah, watch out, watch out. Because the real game, the way that it works, the way that they work is that they get your hopes up about something, okay, and then essentially they have an excuse as to why it's not gonna happen, okay. So this is like the dark manipulative player. Yeah, this is the dark version. There's also there's also just the guy that women are attracted to. Yeah. So okay. Anyway, there's a different version, yeah, which is just the honest version. We're not talking about that yet. Because that guy will tell you the truth, yeah. Be honest with you. He'll tell you the truth, yeah. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the manipulative one, the dark one, but the one that makes your heart break. Okay. And your heart breaks because he builds up your expectations, he builds up your imagination of the future of you and him together. He sells you a dream, people call it. And then when the time comes for the dream to be made real, he snatches it away, yeah. Now, if this happens once, okay, pay attention to it, yeah. And then if it happens more than once, okay, now you should really pay attention to it and you should start to think, okay, this guy, he's just talking, yeah. Remember, the greatest tool a player has is his words, yeah. It's his words and his speech. If a person is not actually, say, a liar won't ever do anything in terms of action yet because that requires work or requires, that then they wouldn't be a liar yet, they'd be telling the truth. So if you want to spot the person type of guy you should stay away from, it's that guy, yeah. His actions don't match his words yet. That's how you wanna it's the same I guess for women in general as well, for my male students. If you want to know, what kind of woman you should stay away from, it's the one that her actions don't match her words yet. She says a lot of things, but she doesn't do them yet. People in general, you should want to avoid this, but specifically for the player, for my young female students, this is what players do, yeah, pretty much. The dark ones, yeah, the bad ones, I should say. Now it can get even worse than this, and I'll finish on this, yeah. It can get even worse than this, which is another level more dark than this, okay, is that when they don't follow through with what they say, they flip it and turn it and make it your fault. Okay, this would be beyond just the sort of dark player, the liar. This would be now like the manipulator or like the abuser, something like that. Yeah, we're getting into that kind of territory. So, the thing to watch out for is basically if the person doesn't follow through with what they say, their words don't match their actions. Okay, they say a lot of things, they sell a lot of dreams, they say a lot of great things. I love you so much. I'd do anything for you. We're gonna be going here, 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 here. This is what pimps do as well, yeah. This is how pimps sell a dream, yeah. It's the same thing. And then, so that itself should make you should just leave that person, I'll be honest, and just exit, yeah, exit. And then number two is if when you question them about it, if they flip it and make it your fault and make you feel bad about it and say, well, why are you putting all this pressure on me? Or, I'm trying, don't you know this bad thing happened to me recently? I'm a victim as well. They make you try and feel bad for them, and you'll be vulnerable to it, especially if you're younger, because you naturally have a soft heart and a good heart. This goes both ways, yeah, both genders. I'd say this is both for them, for both. Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to lay this out because I'd like something, for my young female students to not get played yet. I'd like if you didn't get played. So anyway, yeah, if they flip it on you, okay, and then they make you feel bad about it, then you really need to exit, yeah, because now you're dealing with sort of an abusive type of person, and yeah, you're gonna get trapped in a sort of web where they'll be lying, and then you'll feel bad about calling them out on their lies because you're gonna feel like you're gonna make them feel bad, you're gonna hurt them in some way, and now you're in a terrible situation. Now you're in like the spider's web, and it's gonna be complex for you to get out. So I'd recommend you just get out before that happens, and really take your time. Yeah, there's no rush to get into relationships and stuff, and take your time and yeah, and just follow those tips. Defense against the dark arts. You know what I'm saying? If you have any questions, just put them below. Yeah. But final tip: A good person will always tell you the truth. Yeah, that's the final tip. A good person who you could actually form a relationship with will always tell you the truth, even if that truth isn't something that you want to hear yet. They won't lie to you because they know that lying to you will cause you to be hurt in the future. And the idea of hurting you will hurt them, yeah. Like they won't want to hurt you because they know that they'll feel bad about it. That's like a good person, yeah. That's like a person that you could form a relationship with, I would say. Okay, anyway, so that's a poem, and that's some advice for you guys. Take care.